Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Craft of Design Symposium. I'm really excited. The lineup today is amazing. I might be a little biased because I picked them, but it's going to be really great. My name is Christine, as I said. This is me. Quick intro and maybe context why I am leading this symposium. I grew up in Manila, but I currently live in San Francisco, and I have always been kind of a crafty person. I'm a graphic designer, a letterer sometimes. I'm a history major, which people don't really know about me. I'm an overthinker, like most designers, that perfectionist who doesn't follow through on her projects because she's overthinking them all the time. That's me. And most recently, I was an Adobe Creative Resident last year. So those who aren't familiar, Adobe has a creative residency program where they support creatives for an entire year as they work on their own projects. Imagine telling your mom, like, yeah, Adobe is supporting me and I'm working on my own things. Like, it doesn't sound like a real job, but it is, and it's amazing. So I also, along with freelance designing, I run my own business. I make journals, paper things. I'm still kind of working on it. It just launched. It's called everydayexplorers.co, and it's a line of paper products that kind of encourage documenting in creative ways. So documenting, and this is where the craft comes in. I think my love of design started with scrapbooking. And I get a lot of crap for that. Like, oh, scrapbooking? Is this for your scrapbook? But if you think about it, scrapbooking is a mix of all the things I love. It's like stories, it's photos, it's making things cool with paper. And that's kind of where my love for design kind of really started when I was a kid. And craft, like when we think about craft, and while I was thinking about who to pick for this symposium and like what is craft, we always think, okay, it's handmade, it's analog, it's all the print things, it's handmade, it's the effect, either the effects we do in Photoshop or getting down and dirty with like letterpress and the Rizzo, and originally that's what I was thinking with the symposium, like, oh, I can get people who do amazing things with analog. Letterpress people, people who do woodcut prints. And as I was talking to our speakers a couple of days ago, I was like, I feel like craft is so much more than, just making things with your hands. It's really through craft and through making and through the patience and persistence and all that. It's like you find your unique style. You find what makes your work different. Isabel's going to talk about this later, but it's like, how do you put your own spin to things when you make it by hand? And I'll let her talk about that more. But there's something about like having pride in your work with that craft, and I'm going to let them I don't know, I'm just like, oh, you guys are amazing, and you're going to expand more on this later. But there's also something about craft, because it takes so long to do, and it really, like one mistake, start all over again. And there's something about trusting that process. And I think as designers, we like doing things the long, hard way, where it's like, no, I'm really going to go into detail with all this. We trust the process, and we actually enjoy it. And for me, these four speakers, they really bring their heart into their work, and you can really see it. You see their work, you see all the detail they put into it, and you see the love and care and attention to detail, and it really shows. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I picked these folks to talk. Their work really speaks for itself, and I don't know, there are some creatives you see just like showing up, doing the work, with a lot of love and, I guess, integrity and heart. And yeah, and I like to joke that I picked them too because they're the designers that you kind of stalk on Instagram. You're like, I want to be their friend. They're amazing. So you will see later. They're really great. So yeah, that's kind of what I want the symposium to be about. get you guys thinking about your own craft. Like, what is it that you're willing to spend a lot of time on, whether it almost doesn't seem practical, but you enjoy that process and you enjoy that making. And yeah, and hopefully you think about it, you think about how you can share your craft with others. Heather's also going to talk a little bit about sharing the skills and how that encourages other people to think about their own craft and how they can bring themselves into their own designs. So as I said, if you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A after each speaker. So feel free to tweet AIGA Craft. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce Tom from Monotype. Thank you to Monotype for sponsoring the session. Just a few words.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled that Monotype can be a sponsor of this event. My name is Tom Rickner, and I'm the director of the Monotype Studio, which is the collection of designers worldwide that develop the typefaces that we produce and sell in our library or license through our subscription products and so on. And they also develop the custom typefaces that we produce. You can have custom adjustments done to an existing library typeface, or you can have a completely brand new typeface designed for you if that's what you need. And so I was excited to be asked to just have a few opening comments on the craft of design, because I think craft is a word that most type designers really identify with. And when I think of craft, you think, as Christine already said, you often think of manual stuff and hand operations. And I think of it as often muscle memory and using of tools and how you get the most out of a tool, that it takes tremendous practice and experimentation to really understand how to use your tools in the most effective way to produce the kind of great art and design that you want to create. And in the old days of type design for letterpress, it was paper on pencil, pencil on paper. That'd be tricky. It was pencil on paper with straight edges and French curves and your eraser and maybe some whiteout. And you went through all this elaborate work just to get the design, which then you couldn't see because you had to wait. You were one piece of the series of processes that are all about different kinds of craft, because from that, someone then had to go and create a pattern, which is used. You use this pattern to trace with an engraving device to then create a punch, a steel punch, which is then pressed into soft brass, which is now a matrix, which you could then use to cast the type that someone would laboriously, letter by letter, grab. And so imagine you want to be a type designer and you draw your letter and you've got perhaps months before you get to see what that looks like in its actual size and shape. And so this is sort of the cultural heritage we all think about as type designers, but thankfully today type foundries look a little different, and they share little visually with what our predecessors looked like. And so the process of type design today is a far more non-linear, it's collaborative, it's a series of disconnected steps, and it's very much involving other people and sharing your design vision for typefaces and letter forms, and you get to work with really awesome people. At least I get to. I'm in an awesome situation. And what's really great is it's instantly gratifying, because as soon as you've drawn something, you can pull a proof, you can print, and you can see what this looks like. And so, but although the tools have changed, we're now using digital tools, really, we're still talking about craft, because it's the basic idea. Whatever you're doing, I think, don't be blown away by these hand processes you may see today and think, oh, I wish I were a craftsperson. You're all craftspeople. It's how you learn the extent of your tools and how to work with them, whether they're analog or digital, and that's what really makes something with craft. And so, but you're not you're not here to listen to me. You're here to learn about the craft of design. So I want to hand it back to Christine, and thank you for letting Monotype sponsor this, and we hope you enjoy the show.